So I am in between deliveries, deciding to just take a short break at this nice little park here, gather my thoughts. Then I thought it'd be a great opportunity to do a video. And there's a big problem I see in the gig economy, and there are 5 financial habits that I think a lot of gig workers could benefit from financially if they stop doing them. And by benefit from, I mean they would make more money. So let's get into it. Sup everyone, this is Elijah with the App Lifestyle, the place where the world is literally in the palm of your hand. And in this video, we're going to be talking about 5 financial habits that a lot of gig workers have that holds them back from reaching their maximum financial potential when it comes to making money in the gig economy. I would think the objective for all of us is to make the most money in the least amount of time, and there are some things that we're all doing that tend to inhibit our progress towards that goal. But I'm not going to be standing up while I do this video. We are actually going to take a seat on the bench because I'm just a tad bit tired. That's much better. Now the first tip may take you by surprise because all of these companies pride themselves on the ability to do this. But the first habit we want to break is actually to not cash out early. Those of y'all that don't know, cashing out means that you have a certain balance, usually over $5, and these companies allow you to cash all that money out on a debit card. And cashing out early means that anytime you cash out before, that money goes to your bank account, because it's going to go to your bank account once a week, usually every Monday or Tuesday, depending on the company. Now there's a few reasons you don't want to do this. I guess the most obvious reason in terms of finances is it does cost something. So these fees range between $50 to $2 depending on what company you're looking at, and they can actually add up over time. You want to be giving like hundreds of dollars in fees to these companies just for cashing out? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure you would rather pocket that money, right? So that's one reason not to cash out early, because you're not paying anything every time money just goes to your bank account. But the bigger reason is anytime you cash out, there's a more likelihood that that money is gonna slip through the cracks. You see, the more frequently you get money throughout the week, the more likely money is to slip through the cracks. And since budgeting is a planning activity, you do well to receive larger sums of money fewer times than little sums of money more times. On top of that, it just gives you overall less financial anxiety. And when that weekly deposit does come in, you can split it up appropriately based on your bills, on your investments, on what you need to spend money on, etc. If you keep getting like daily cash outs, that's a bad habit that I used to have, where I just cash out at the end of the day. Man, it's real easy for money just to slip through the cracks. So it's better just to let that money go to your bank account. But with that being said, it's getting kind of hot out here. So how about you join me while I go back to the car? Habit number 2 that gig workers can break in order to start making a bit more money is to stop eating so much while you're out. In fact, if you can get rid of this habit altogether, it will be a great benefit. I know it's tempting to go grab some fast food or give some of those restaurants that we're usually delivering food from, or just sing all day while we're out. But if you decide to do that, it ends up cutting into your gross earnings, and the amount you made overall that day starts to decrease. Now obviously there are some exceptions to the rule. For example, if I have a very just good like lunch rush where I made like $60 or $80, then I'll go ahead and take myself out to a restaurant, get something to eat, so long as I'm not spending like a bunch of money and I'm doing a full day's worth of work. That means I'm gonna do lunch rush and dinner rush. But if I'm just doing one of those, I don't ever grab any food while I'm out. And even if I'm not just doing one, I'm doing both. I try to just prepare meals ahead of time and eat them in the car. That way I don't end up wasting some of the money that I just worked for. The solution to this is to just plan your meals and bring whatever you need with you. That way when you start to get hungry, you can grab a snack, or you can actually have dinner in the car. Or if you're doing deliveries or rideshare or whatever close to your home, you might be able to actually just go back home in the downtime, fix something to eat, get full, and then head back out. So let's actually switch it up a bit. Rather than talk about a habit that we should get rid of, how about a habit we should start? And that leads us into the third one, which is start to develop the habit of saving money on gas any way you can. Now that comes in a few various forms. You can save money on gas by just doing some research in your area and figuring out exactly what gas stations have the cheapest prices. You can save money on gas by using the GetUpside app to find which gas stations qualify for cash back using the GetUpside app. You can save money on gas by using some kind of debit card or credit card, which allows you to get reward points or cash back when you pay for gas. Because we got to remember that gas is one of our biggest expenses, and since we're going to be spending that money anyway, why not benefit from it in some form? Of course, if you're like me, you're going to be doing a little bit of all of the above. Find the gas stations with the cheapest prices that are partnered with GetUpside and pay for that gas using some kind of cashback debit card or some debit card that has some kind of advantage to spending money on it. There are plenty of debit cards that offer cash back if you spend money, so I'm not going to list like a bunch of them here. I would say just do some independent research, and it's not that hard to find a debit card which you can get cash back from. Me personally, I use the PayPal business debit card, which gets about 1% cash back. But there are better cashback options. You just gotta do some research. The reason that I use a cash back debit card from PayPal is because I just want all those accurate records to be in one place for tax reasons. But that's just the one that I use. Like I said, there's plenty of other debit cards that you can use to get that cash back. And if you put them on top of the GetUpside app and find the best gas stations in your market and buy gas there, you're gonna start saving some money, which by default is gonna reduce that expense that's gonna be weighing on you as a gig economy driver. I don't know about you, but I've been out and about for a little while, so I think it's time to go back home. So how about we go home? We're back in the comfy set. If I stayed out there any longer, I might have died from heat stroke. Okay, maybe not, but maybe I just prefer the set every now and then. Moving on with our 5 financial mistakes that gig workers tend to make, I would be remiss to kind of mention that all this falls under a central theme that can be solved just by doing one thing. And that is to have a spreadsheet where you can track all this information and just have a general awareness of your progress as a gig worker, how much you're making, and also some other things that we're going to talk about in 4 and 5. But before we get to those, I've got to share the fact that I made an App Driver monthly spreadsheet for you guys that will keep track of everything that I'm talking about, that will solve all these financial mistakes. Because y'all know I'm all about solutions, and I wouldn't feel good pointing out all these problems if I didn't give you a solution to solve them. All you need to have to access this spreadsheet is Google Spreadsheets, which by the way is free, and you can keep track of things such as how many hours you're putting in, how much you're making per hour after the gas expense, and also how much you're saving in tax deductions based on the mileage that you're driving. All you need to do to get this spreadsheet is click on the link in the description below or in the pinned comment. Now, some of y'all probably see more information in that spreadsheet that can be pretty useful, and that leads us to the financial mistakes 4 and 5. Starting out with number 4 is a lot of drivers actually don't know how much money they're making per delivery in any given day. See, this is important because you need to know what you can get away with in your market. A lot of people use a standard in their market that they won't accept any delivery under. For instance, I'm not going to accept a delivery under $6 or $7. Well, that's fine, but if you really want to know what your market is capable of, you need to know the average amount you're making per delivery. And you get that average amount by taking the total amount of money that you made that day minus the gas expense and then dividing that by the number of deliveries that you've actually done. That will give you the overall average of your earnings per delivery, and whatever that is, that's the true number you don't actually want to fall under because that's what your market is offering. Now, obviously, there are certain situations where if it's just slow, you might need to dip under there, or there's certain situations where for whatever reason activity is higher than that average. But the point is, you have a general awareness of what your market has potential to do, so you know what not to take. This overall falls under the category of maximizing your money while you're out there. You don't want to take something that's under your standards because you don't know what those standards are for your market. Moving on to our last and final tip, which is tip number 5. A lot of gig workers don't really save properly, if they save at all. A lot of people kind of see saving as, hey, when I have some money, I'm going to put it aside. And if you think of it that way, there's a good chance that's not actually going to happen. You want to have saving, especially in the industry where you're getting money on a weekly basis or daily basis, even though we kind of discussed you probably want to move away from daily and you want to just have your money hit in your weekly deposit. But you're getting money on a frequent basis and you want to have savings as autonomous as possible. This can be accomplished by simply taking a percentage of the money that you make per week and then depositing that in a savings account. In fact, you can actually automate the whole process by having your money automatically withdrawn into a savings account. You can actually just arrange it so that your money is going to be withdrawn from your checking account to a savings account like every Wednesday or Tuesday or whatever day you choose to pick. And if you're curious exactly what is 15% of your income, that is something I've actually included in the spreadsheet that I mentioned so far. On the spreadsheet, there's a section exclusively for savings where it's going to automatically take 15% of the money that you made, and it's going to automatically show you the amount that should go towards savings based on that 15% ratio. Of course, some people might do more or less. I think 15% is a good average medium for our industry, because if you're making a certain amount of dollars per week, then 15% is fairly reasonable. So if anything happens to your car, like you need new brakes or something like that, you'll have enough money in the savings account to address that instead of having to fumble to get the money. Or I got to go when all the money I'm going to make that day is going to go towards getting me new brakes or whatever. You want to be able to just address that problem immediately and just pull it from another account. You don't have to get out there and have to hustle the money. This is in addition to what if life happens in other areas that you need savings for. I'm not going to go into the value of a savings because I made a video on that on my Financial Anatomy channel. You can check that out if you're interested in seeing the value of a savings. But it's very important to have. With that being covered, we now explain the 5 financial mistakes that gig workers tend to make. Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, or rideshare drivers, food delivery drivers. These mistakes tend to go across both of those mediums, and now you know how to address them. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below, as well as subscribe if you're new and hit that bell notification if you want to be notified when I drop another video on the app lifestyle. You can also get the app driver spreadsheet that I was mentioning in the link in the description or in the pinned comment. That does it for this video. I will catch you in the next one. Be safe, be profitable.